Another day in the NBA here, only 3 games in front of us. But the work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare my data to one of our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see what one of the industry leaders thinks. We'll see what I think. So we'll meet somewhere in the middle as we go through the top plays, best value plays, all of that. We'll also check ownership along the way as we go game by game, figuring out, oops, that's not the right one. So we go game by game, trying to figure out where the advantages lie on today's slate. What are the team totals? Which players are under-owned? Things like that. We'll hop over to Stokastic, run a sim without my interference. Maybe we'll do a single lineup sim as well. And by the end of this video, guys, you'll know all the must plays for November 25th in the NBA. Let's get into it here. Shout out to our guy Fistula here. Shout out to Zach. I guess I could wait extra time for it was fucking 2 minutes. Jesus Christ, guy. It's Thanksgiving week, and I am here doing NBA content every day, Zach. I will strangle you through the screen. You know, I get the good-natured vibe. At least that was good-natured vibes on that one, but fucking Christ. I also did put the positions on here for our guy FF Doom yesterday. He asked for it, then he he kind of pointedly was like, why don't you put the fucking positions on, asshole? Was sort of the vibe I got. Then he gave me a super chat, so now you are getting positions on this screen as well. So thank FF Doom, guys, for these advancements in modern technology. What let's fuck some whores? What are we doing, guys? It's Tuesday in the NBA. We got 3 games. We got a lot of time for nonsense here. But I do appreciate you guys being here. As always, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as you come in. And let's get to work. Luka Doncic, your top projected player in the slate, $12K salary for him. LeBron playing pretty poorly to start the year. People, I think, are pointing out some of the assisting he's been doing, almost a 50% assist rate. That's all good. But fantasy-wise, LeBron has been underperforming at 1.06 fantasy points per minute for comparison's sake. And obviously, Luka's had more time to play. Austin Reeves had more time to play. But Luka's been averaging 1.65 fantasy points per minute. Reeves at 1.26. I did give LeBron his previous rates, his rates going back to last year, because just the projection looked too low for LeBron, and it also made Luka and Reeves a little bit too high. But if LeBron keeps underperforming as he has to start the year, it does seem like Luka Doncic can have a little bit of a higher projection that I'm giving him right now at 58.1. Stokastic has him at 59.4. He is your highest pay-up option on the slate. Tyrese Maxey's also going to look pretty good because we have Joel Embiid, Paul George ruled out today, in addition to VJ Edgecombe out, in addition to Kelly Oubre being out for Philly. That's going to look good as well. But basically right now for Luka Doncic, I think he could look a little bit better. If you're just going to say LeBron is now old and the sciatica got to him, he's not going to be the same guy. But if you give him the rates more, looking closer to what he had last year, about a 30% usage rate, 41% assist rate, 13% rebound rate. LeBron has not been rebounding very much to start the year. It makes Luka look like a less good play. It makes Austin Reeves look like a less good play. So that's where we are right now with Luka Doncic, 18% owned by the field. I'm getting him at 13, and certainly I have no critique really if you want to play Luka in the spot going against a Clippers defense that has been so much worse than I think anybody would have thought, giving up 120 points per 100 possessions. I think that Luka just underprojected right now because of what the historical numbers for LeBron mean. LeBron needs to step aside for the exciting whites. The European people count as white. I don't know. Old Howard Stern reference way over my head, but I appreciate it. I liked Howard Stern back in the day too, but I'll tell you what, Stern references very long time ago for me. And it might be a callback to the whorish comments. There were a lot of whoring related comments yesterday on my behalf. Of course, we are whoring here every day in the name of NBA DFS. Tyrese Maxey at number 2. Oops. There we go. Tyrese Maxey, number 2 here, 30% ownership for me. Gave him a boost because of no Paul George and Embiid. They are still in the Stokastic data that we're going to see here. Hopefully Stokastic updates as the show goes on, but it looked like Paul George and Embiid were going to play. Embiid even went through shoot around, but nope, these guys are not going to go, and it's not even like there is a back-to-back for the Sixers either. They don't play again until Friday. So Joel Embiid not playing, Paul George not playing, both for injury management reasons. You have Edgecombe out as well. Kelly Oubre still out. Tyrese Maxey, your big winner overall. Court time without those various guys this year. Maxey's put up 33% usage, 27% assist rate, so that's down a little bit. The usage going to be there no matter what the configuration is at this point, and really for Philadelphia, the big thing is that you take more of these guys away. You're playing an Orlando team that's out, without Banchero still, but still, Orlando now a 3-point favorite on the road here, 3.5-point favorite on the road. Maxey's really their main vessel to keep this game competitive. Like Quentin Grimes is going to project decently. Even guys like Dominic Barlow, Justin Edwards, Trenton Watford, Andre Drummond, they're all going to project pretty decently today because of the fact that the Sixers are kind of shorthanded besides Maxey and some of those other guys. But again, they're down Edgecombe, down Paul George, down Oubre, down Embiid. That's pretty big parts of the rotation that are not available today. So Maxey should benefit a lot from that. We'll see what the ownership looks like when Stokastic updates. But right now, I'm about 2x the field. I think Maxey's going to come up, though, and my ownership will come up as well. Beat with 2 bad knees, he's cooked. I mean, supposedly he's getting better, but it doesn't seem good that he gets closer to playing and then still doesn't play. He still looks like himself when he's out there. He's just he's just a slog. He's just a slog of a player. Maxi Pad looking like the play of the day. I think the field's definitely going to get there more than the 17% ownership right now. Jalen Johnson, another guy who this morning looked like the play of the day. I think will still look like one of the plays of the day, no matter what happens with Maxi's ownership. Jalen Johnson gets the gift of playing the Wizards, 123.5 implied points for Atlanta. Jalen Johnson putting up triple doubles with some regularity this season with Trae Young out. He's had a 32% assist rate on the year, goes a little bit higher, 33% this year without Trae Young on the court. And for Atlanta, really the big thing is that Washington's going to offer very little resistance in a spot where they're giving up 125 points per 100 possessions. Right now, I believe they are the worst defense in basketball, certainly the worst defense on the slate, but it's technically a pace up for Atlanta as well, with Washington playing about a 102 and change possessions per game. Atlanta at 101. It's all good stuff for Jalen Johnson here. So Jalen Johnson, 67% ownership seems like a lot. I got him at 48. Again, Maxi's going to probably come up a little bit. Jalen Johnson comes down a little bit. I would also guess, too, there's a decent chance you get Maxey played with Jalen Johnson, in some amount of lineups. But Jalen Johnson's a crusher, contributes in every category, averaging 1.36 fantasy points minute, and that keeps getting better game by game because of not having Trae Young in. So Jalen Johnson, hard to argue the ownership. It's a lot, though, for a guy in a 3-game slate. James Harden, you got Kawhi Leonard back in. As a result, Harden a little bit less good in terms of the projection, but still 9,800, 46.6 fantasy point projection for me. Not a bad play, but only 6% ownership in my top 150. Fields at 7. When you have Maxey, when you have Jalen Johnson on the slate, hard to make the case for Harden. But that's just, DFS for you. If Harden puts up 70 today, people will be on it much less because of having, quality chalk plays like Maxey when his ownership increases here, like Jalen Johnson with already a ton of ownership going his way. So Harden, not my favorite play in the slate, certainly, but the field's going to feel the same way. So tournament upside for sure if you're playing 150, even a 20 max. Austin Reeves getting 35%, fields at 9. At 8,100, I can withstand LeBron affecting his projection a little bit more. That said, I have him about 7 fantasy points higher than Stokastic does. Austin Reeves has killed so far this year. Stokastic reflecting more of that longer-term sample size of him, being more of the third banana. And really for Reeves, I do think you want LeBron off the court to feel really good about the upside for him. But Reeves is still getting up usage with LeBron on the court. I think the upside is still there. Obviously, we need to see more of how this all comes together, but there's some, actually quickly, let's look at the popcorn machine. Believe they've staggered minutes a little bit. Yeah, so you get Luka off the court for a period where it's LeBron and Austin Reeves. Then Luka comes back on for a little bit where there is no LeBron or Austin Reeves. You get the 3 of them again. I thought it was more staggered than this, to be honest. You got a little staggering in the second half. This is what I'm thinking of, is a stretch in between quarters. They'll go 2 to the 3 guys. That's probably when you have the biggest upside for Austin Reeves. But last game, he still played 40 minutes, even with LeBron in, 22 points, 12 peripherals. The work's not bad. The minutes are also particularly not, they're that's a lot of minutes, 40 minutes for a guy with LeBron back in. You have no DeAndre Ayton today as well. So for Austin Reeves, I think that's the biggest thing here, that you're taking another key rotational piece. You have a 3-headed monster of usage for the Lakers where one of the guys, LeBron, has not been getting as many shots up or rebounding as much. And Austin Reeves has been rebounding a little bit more in addition to creating assists, creating usage. I'm willing to be above the field, 4X here on Austin Reeves, but it does feel like a lot. My projection does feel a little bit high. Any chance Hayes gets 30 minutes like he did on November 2nd? Maybe. I don't know. He played last game 18 minutes with Ayton in. Second half with no Ayton at all. He played 5. He played 10 minutes in the second half with no Ayton. So it's possible. Does that mean it's likely? Probably not. LeBron, 9K salary, 15% ownership, 13% for me. Again, when you give him the longer term sample size data, it looks better for LeBron. That said, on the year, the fact he's averaging 1.06 fantasy points a minute, we are talking about the worst it's ever been in his career, fantasy wise. Not a lot of games, so that can get better, and you'd expect it to get better. But LeBron at 9K, 42 projection, and that's being generous. It kind of feels to me with LeBron, and this is It's a little slanderous to say it this way, but I feel like for LeBron, it feels like Joel Embiid last year, where like he kept projecting well because sites like Stokastic, sites like SaberSim, whatever else out there, ETR, they're using the longer term sample for Joel Embiid being good. But the reality is like he wasn't the same guy last year in particular when he played, and like you kind of had to keep. For me, as somebody that was doing this these streams and looking at it every day, I had to keep massaging the projections like to make Joel Embiid look better than he actually looked in the data. That's kind of what's happening with LeBron today, where like you're giving him a lot of benefit of the doubt because it's LeBron, but guy is old. The guy is coming off a month of inactivity and injury. And now he's got two teammates that are like pretty electric with Luka and Austin Reeves. So don't go nuts on LeBron no matter what at 9K, but not fading him entirely here. Vika Zubac getting 2x the field on him, seemingly not too affected by having Kawhi back in the lineup. Obviously, for having a Lakers matchup today with no DeAndre Ayton, even easier to go against the Jackson Hayeses / no big men they're going to put out there against Zubac. Zubac, one of those guys as well, where, the minutes aren't at risk, really. Derek Queen, we saw get less minutes, spot where he was super chalk yesterday. We saw Jalen Smith, a guy who I was like, if he starts, he looks awesome for Vucevic rather being out. Vucevic, sorry. There's too many guys with Vuks and Vuces now in the league. For Vucevic being out yesterday, then Jalen Smith didn't start, and it's like, oh, well, that's less of a good situation. They didn't want to go big initially. They ended up going big as the game kind of went on because Chicago was playing better with Jalen Smith in. But it's not like for a guy like Zubac plays no matter what the situation is. So Lakers not having a big man, it won't matter. It just means Zubac probably gets beaten a little bit more defensively if he has to switch on to guards, but he'll likely just get more rebounds and blocks and stuff like that, easy shots at the rim. That doesn't matter who's going to guard Zubac. Nobody could guard Zubac if they want. They're going to make it as uncomfortable on Zubac as he'll make it on them. It's sort of the net of a big man that plays minutes no matter what. But like that's not really the way to view NBA DFS. You don't need to have somebody out there to guard Zubac. They can just play guys small. That's it. And really, in general, you're better off not worrying about team machinations as much. Like yesterday, Ryan Rollins, part of the reasons that he failed he missed a ton of shots, but he failed because they had Tamani Kamara playing like really aggressive defense on him that I don't think Ryan Rollins can handle. Then when he wasn't hitting shots, the rest of the team sort of went Lord of the Flies mode, and it went downhill from there. But you start worrying about that in every matchup, though, then you pass up the good matchups for stuff that, like that doesn't really matter. So it doesn't matter who's going to guard Zubac. It doesn't matter who's guarding anybody for the most part in any game. Sometimes you'll run bad in it. Sometimes you won't. Franz Wagner, 16% ownership for the field. I'm getting 5. Franz at 8,700. His rates look better going back to last year without Banchero, but this year Suggs has been doing more without Banchero on the court. You've also had Desmond Bane doing a little bit more, not a crazy amount, but I think the Suggs thing is the biggest difference. Franz last year without Banchero was putting up like a 35% usage rate. This year it's just under 30, so the upside is there for Franz. That said, ownership is not crazy. My projection's a little bit low. The salary's up at 8,700, so would think that for Franz Wagner, I see the tournament upside for sure, especially, against a Philly team that is going to be depleted again. Even some of their, wing defenders now, you'll still have Grimes. You'll still have Justin Edwards for whatever he does out there. You'll have Watford, who for sure can make it tough on guys, but you're now missing Edgecombe, who's been, a willing defender, if nothing else. Oubre, who's a reliable defender as well. That can make it easier for Franz today. So the projection's not there. That was really the main thing. Andre Drummond. So the issue with Drummond right now is that Stokastic had Embiid in the data set still. So as a result, he wasn't really in the player pool very much. I think Drummond's going to be one of the chalkiest plays in the slate. I have him for a 38 fantasy point projection, and I've been low on Drummond this year relative to industry data. So I think Drummond will be one of your most popular center plays. He and Zubac both look solid. Sarr is another guy I've liked a lot this year. He looks solid as well. But I think really the ownership here, where I've got Zubac at 32, Sarr at 45. If I had to guess, Drummond becomes the high guy now, and Zubac and Sarr come down a little bit for both the field and for me. Alex Sarr been playing well to start the year. We do have an illness for Keyshawn George. If he is out, it'll make it a little more appealing to go to Sarr. Just some more extra usage to go around because Keyshawn George has been gunning for the most part this year. But Alex Sarr producing 1.3 fantasy points a minute, best wizard by a pretty good margin, where Keyshawn George is at 1.1, Bagley's at 1.07. Nobody else really in the tier of Sarr. And for Sarr, you're facing an Atlanta team where, it is a pretty good defense going against them, but I like Sarr generally against another, long athletic kind of front court. Think he can rack up some blocks, things like that. So Alex Sarr, think he's going to be less owned, but still a good play to me at a 5.3x value projection. And Sar too has played, not that we're saying where I would guarantee or anything, or even guess that Washington gets blown out here. But if Washington is down, they've shown that they're willing to bring Sar out for fourth quarter stints, even not in NBA Cup situations. So I think for Sar, the minutes at 29 minutes feel pretty stable here. They're stable for Drummond too. Like he's playing high 30s whenever Embiid's not playing as well. And I guess honestly, relative to the rest of these guys, Sar does have the low minutes projection at 29. But I like Sar here. Think he's Zubac and Drummond. A nice three-headed monster up top at center today. Lakers brought up Drew Timmy from the G League. Showed good glimpses of fantasy production with Brooklyn. Yeah, that's true. Don't think he's guaranteed a ton of minutes, but and I certainly wouldn't want to play him the first game getting called up. But he's definitely going to play, and that is something that will also be if you're really dying to play Jackson Hayes. That's an inhibitor potentially to Jackson Hayes getting his ceiling of minutes. Jalen Suggs. So without Banchero this year, Suggs has been putting up some more usage. As I mentioned, he's putting up about 26% usage, normally at about 24. Assist rates around 30, no matter whether Banchero's on or off. But Suggs this year has really been playing well, averaging 1.18 fantasy points per minute. Counting for no Banchero today and the matchup with Philly, along with team totals and all that. I have Suggs at about a 1.2 fantasy point per minute projection, which now that I'm looking at it, that is higher than Wagner, higher than Desmond Bane. That doesn't feel great, but Suggs contributes a little more defensive peripherals. His steal rate's about double what Franz Wagner gets, triple what Desmond Bane gets. So I think that's part of the picture. And the assist upside as well. He's got more assists overall than Wagner and Bane. So I think that's the logic for it. Suggs, though, 54% owned by the field. I'm getting him at 55. Definitely a lot of Suggs today, even though he has been the biggest winner from Banchero this year at the very least. Again, going back to last year, it's Wagner. This year, though, it's been Suggs playing the best fantasy-wise without Banchero. We're going to sort by value here. You're going to see a bunch of small ball with LeBron at the 5, but do we think he can pay off at the price? No, I don't. I think I just said that. No, I actually do not think he could pay off at that price. Even again, given him the rates that he had from last year, he still doesn't project as more than a 5x value. So I personally don't really want to be there, but you can. It's a 3-game slate. You can literally play anybody you want for the most part. And guys, if you get any value of this video, whether you're going to listen to me or just fade the things I'm saying, either way, follow your hearts. It's your money. Gamble as you want to. But please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Again, I am just one guy here showing you my work here on the NBA Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. Of course, the NFL as well. Monday, tomorrow, we'll be doing a Thanksgiving slate show at 12 p.m. on the Splash Play Pod channel for the NFL Thanksgiving slate. So the work continues on here, guys. So please do help me keep fighting that YouTube algorithm. You guys have been really good about it on this channel. So please, let's keep doing it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and of course, come back here. I take your guys' feedback. Look, FF Doom yesterday asked for positions, and after my initial rebuffing of wanting to do any extra work or change the presentation here, I put him in because that's the kind of guy I am here. So please help me out in my journey here just to gamble better, but also talk to you guys about this stuff every day. Hit that like button, subscribe, and of course, check out Stokastic too. 15% off. A lot of you guys have been signing up over there using the promo code SPLASH, but the 15% off is the only deal they have going. So check it out. If you're watching on Twitter, just check the link in my bio as well. But either way, use that promo code SPLASH. It supports the show. Half the money you pay to them comes back to me, and all the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff, it's all 15% off at Stokastic. So check it out, especially as their data updates, because we might not get the Joel Embiid updates while the show's on. Thank you. I like your work. Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef. Yes, Chef. I appreciate it. Justin Edwards. So I had to do the Philadelphia minutes myself before the show because Stokastic had not updated. And real fast, we go to Philadelphia's last game. So you got to read on how Philadelphia at this point is borderline shorthanded. I am aware. I updated vigorously for myself to get Embiid out, so don't worry about it. And that's why I just talked about Drummond being a much better. What do you guys? So, a few minutes behind. I know where is Parker. I appreciate it. All right. We got minutes here for the last game for Philly. So we had Paul George in, but no VJ Edgecombe, who's still out again today. Kelly Oubre again out. Embiid was out in this game. Drummond in this spot put up 38 minutes. I gave him a 36-minute projection. But realistically, if this game were competitive down the home stretch, they're getting blown out by the Heat, or far enough behind they called off the Dogs. Drummond could have gotten to like 40. I mean, you could have gotten to 40 minutes flat basically in this game. So a lot of Andre Drummond minutes lately. He's been playing pretty well. He had 24 peripherals in this game, as you could see here, along with his 14 points. Drummond, very strong play overall. But basically, taking Paul George out, we now have a ton of minutes to go around in the wing, and Justin Edwards last game with Paul George in played 32.5 minutes. You can see if the on hover would stop going. 32.5 minutes for Justin Edwards last game. So we're taking 20 minutes of Paul George off. We are adding nobody else in, really. My assumption is that Edwards has to play 30 at the very least. Quentin Grimes probably going to play mid-30s. Maxey going to play his usual high 30s. Barlow, I think, gets close to 30. But Watford could play a little bit more. But Edwards, his minutes seem secure here. So with no Paul George, they need a 3-point shooting. Edwards, I think, a good value play at 4,400. Feels like a pretty aggressive projection for me at 27.5, but the Sixers are super shorthanded now. So Justin Edwards, good looking value to me at 4,400. Would love to see what Stokastic is in minutes wise, but I really don't know how they'd give him less than 32. Given the fact he played 32 last game with Paul George in. So right now I've got Justin Edwards. 70% of my top 50 lineups field was going to be at 19. If I had to guess, Justin Edwards is now your chalk value of the day. Andre Drummond, we just talked about, again, played 38 minutes last game, could have gotten to 40. Embiid's out again. Bonus still out as well. So Drummond going to get the full run of the castle here. He's been averaging on the year 1.1 fantasy points a minute. The rates go up a little bit higher, more usage, more rebounding as well. And last game, his usage spiked pretty meaningfully too, as we got less options out there. So we got Andre Drummond at 6,500. I think he'll be a very chalky play because Joel Embiid is not in the chat. So Tiffany, you're okay. Yeah, Joel Embiid not in today. Stokastic has not updated their data. But Embiid out, Paul George out, Drummond up as a result. Trendon Watford also up as a result. Justin Edwards, same thing here. Watford producing 1 flat fantasy point per minute on the year. Justin Edwards is at 0.74. These guys, similar price tags, but Edwards is at small forward, which is a little bit harder to find guys that you want to play. But Watford is in half my lineups. Edwards is in 70. These guys are going to be very popular chalk plays today because this rotation for the Sixers is pretty short and there's a lot of production to go around is basically the main thing that is. Jalen Suggs, we talked about already. Top projected guy, top value as well at 6,500. If he were to fail today at pretty high ownership, I'd expect an outlier day for Franz Wagner, an outlier day for Desmond Bane. And even if those guys play pretty well, you might still find Suggs doing enough to make a winning lineup with that much ownership on him and a good projection. Again, Suggs playing well out there. His minutes, his minutes cap might still be there a little bit. But we're talking about high 20s minutes pretty reliably, closing games pretty reliably. So Suggs, the ownership is probably going to move because of the Philadelphia value opening up, but if he gets into a lot of your lineups, he definitely feels like a core play today, and dare I say, a splash play today as well. Last one in the stream, supposed to bring snacks for everybody. That's true. It is Thanksgiving as well, so make sure you're bringing your potluck stuff. Be watching a little bit later, but my question is, when you run the Sims, how many lineups do... Oh, God damn it. Eric, just go run it yourself. I'm not your personal... Not even as a super chat, and you're asking me to advance and tell me you're not going to watch. Don't give me homework. Get the fuck out of here. I appreciate the sentiment, but Jesus Christ. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 58%. Fields at 53%. He looks good as well. Everybody for the Hawks looks good because they are playing Washington is really the main thing here. Jalen Johnson looks good. If you're not playing Jalen Johnson, it makes sense to consider his teammates more because it's a higher likelihood that one of those guys is producing well enough if Jalen Johnson cannot make a winning lineup. Alexander-Walker, playable with Jalen Johnson. All the stuff looks pretty good right now for the Hawks against the Wizards. Austin Reeves, we've talked about. Maxey, we've talked about. Sarr, we've talked about. Jalen Johnson, we've talked about. Keyshawn George, 27% ownership for me in the top 150. Fields at 20. If he's inactive, probably is going to look better for really everybody else because Keyshawn George does literally a little bit of everything. I think Sarr would be the biggest winner overall, but McCollum will look more playable. Middleton, Champagny, Bub Carrington, those guys are really cheap on the slate. I think you want Keyshawn George to come in because you are going to have a lot of value guys popping up for Washington that are not actually good plays. Like right now, I have Bub Carrington at 3,300 as a 5x value. Champagny is a 5.2x value at 3,200, and he's shooting guard, small forward. These guys are going to get into an impossible amount of lineups if Keyshawn George is out. But if George is in, I think he's a good play. The ownership is usually a little bit lower for guys been a Q tag throughout the course of the day. It's sort of how that goes. Quentin Grimes, another part of the Sixers here. Definitely going to get rotational minutes no matter what. Played about 35 minutes last game. Today projected for 35 again. Paul George being out, his minutes are super secure. And Quentin Grimes, not quite in the situation he is in when Tyrese Maxey's off the court, where he can then do everything basically. But still, he'll be the secondary scoring option. maybe tertiary, but he'll be, a top option for the team at this point. All right, game by game view here coming up. Can I run the solver? Yeah, everybody wants really specific things for themselves. And which if you're a paying member, I'll do it. And even if you're not, if you catch me at the right time, I'll do it. But asking in advance when I don't think I've ever seen that guy's name before is fucking crazy. It's whatever, guys. But I appreciate all you being here, even if it may not seem like it sometimes. Ultimately, I'm just focused on my part of the presentation here, which is showing you guys all the things, all the data here as best I can. Hit that like button, subscribe here, and let's get into the game-by-game view. And, of course, if you want to see data for yourself, you want to see how many Maxey and Luka lineups come together, well, you can go over to Stokastic and use that promo code SPLASH, get 15% off, and run Sims till your heart's content. Atlanta, 123.5 implied points here. Opponents here for Washington, scoring 125 points against them. Absolute smash spot for Atlanta here. Obviously, for how it looks for Atlanta, you're going to get a lot of these guys. Dyson Daniels, though, mostly unowned. Okongwu, at his price tag, you probably can't play with Porzingis in. But I think for how Atlanta looks, whatever parts you get are fine besides Okongwu. Reza Shea guy, never get. I know some of you guys in the community like him a lot. The minutes are not the most secured. He's not particularly good. But these are the kind of games where there's a ton of ownership going to everybody else. It does feel like Reza Shea goes off. Atlanta here, I think really whoever you want, you can play. But Dyson Daniels, I think, is really the one player that feels like he's overplayed in every slate because people remember the good times of last year when Trae Young was out. And it's not really the same situation now. Jalen Johnson there, Porzingis there, Nickeil Alexander-Walker there getting paid a ton of money. These guys were all taking a ton of shares away from a guy like Dyson Daniels who's happy to kind of displace some 3 and D. I mean, not even 3, really. And shout out for Tiffany here. Agree with Steven here. Thank you for everybody in the chat. I appreciate Tiffany. Tiffany, you are very generous, and that's why I will always take yours, Joel Embiid, out in questions here whenever they come up. Even if he's on the slate, you could ask me about it, and I will tell you. Living in desperate times. We sure are. We sure are. Any love for Jabari Walker's value? I think he is your pivot to the rotational pieces. He'll probably get like 15 minutes, but a little bit tough to love him. Just given the fact that the other guys have much better roles. Washington here, 113 implied. Need to know the Keyshawn George status. If he's out, everything's going to look different here. Same thing we talked about yesterday with Portland, with Shaedon Sharpe getting ruled out. I ended up getting a ton of Jeremy Grant. Field was not there. Ended up really contributing to, Ryan Rollins did not kill my day. I made a really nice profit in the NBA, which balanced out an awful day in the showdown. It's a bad day to play Panthers offensive stuff in that showdown. That said, for, how Washington looks here, it's important to keep in mind when I talk about stuff because I'm doing this show at 2 p.m. If I say Keyshawn George is out, it's going to change everything. Quite literally, everybody on the team will look better. So keep that in mind. As it is right now, Sarr looks the best. He's very playable as it is. But, the center value opening up with Drummond is going to move the ownership around here. But if Keyshawn George is out, Sarr is going to look great. McCollum will look better, even though I'm not crazy about how he's playing this year. Definitely due to shoot better. Bilal Coulibaly, same thing. These guys will both gain opportunity because of not having Keyshawn George in if he doesn't play. The Middleton projection, I do not see at all with my rates here. 38% ownership for the field at 4,400. I would rather play the super cheap Bub Carrington, super cheap Champagnie. Chris Middleton shooting terribly on the year. Fantasy production has been miserable. He looks, to me, mostly like dust. Certainly could be a thing where he's deferring a little bit more because of the teammates he has and the fact that, why is he even on the team, really? But he's also shooting terribly, so I kind of tend to think Middleton is not the best player at the stage of his career. And with that much ownership, it's going to move because of the Philadelphia stuff, but I would not have wanted to be there. Cam Whitmore playing off the bench, playing pretty well. I think looks pretty good as a value option on a slate where, there's not a ton besides the Philadelphia stuff. That said, Philadelphia is going to make a guy like Whitmore, a guy like Middleton as well. They're all going to look a little bit less good. Bub Carrington, Champagnie, guys who will look better if Keyshawn George is out. But if he's in, they're still cheap enough here that you get some, especially Champagnie at shooting guard, small forward. Neither guy projected for more than 25 minutes, but they're rotational pieces. And Champagnie at least contributes fairly well with 0.9 fantasy points a minute. Bub Carrington, one of the worst picks, I feel like, ever. Out of all the young guys in the league, I feel like Bub Carrington might be the least enjoyable for me to watch because, number one, he looks angry. If you haven't seen, let's see, can we find Bub Carrington's face? Just real fast. He looks happy in this one, not so happy in this one. This is Bub Carrington on the court usually. Just angry, and he doesn't do anything well, and he doesn't ever do anything fun. I hate him. That's really how I feel about it. But for Washington, again, if you got Keyshawn George out, those guys will look pretty good. Shout out Zach for joining here. Zach, if you joined one of the Squirt Squad tiers, actually, if you joined any of them, join the Discord. If you joined one of the Squirt Squad tiers, make sure you sync your YouTube to your Discord to get access to the data and all that. But I can't see what you joined, but shout out Zach for joining the family here. His hair is fun. Oh, yes, that's fair. His hair is fun, but he just looks surly and he's not good at basketball. Is how I feel about Bub Carrington. Orlando, 115.5 implied points here. Suggs, the high ownership, definitely much less for Wagner and Bain. Of course, by this point, hopefully if you watch the show regular, you understand a little bit better how projections work. And basically, if Jalen Suggs falls short of his projection, there's a higher chance that Franz Wagner exceeds his by a few fantasy points. Desmond Bain could exceed his. Even theoretically, Wendell Carter and Anthony Black can exceed theirs. But this is the ownership right now. Suggs coming in at 54%. I've got him at 55. Wendell Carter, 28. Anthony Black at 28. I'm lower on those. If I were going to be up on Magic, guys, I would certainly prefer to the one that's Wagner and Bain. If it's, okay, 30 on iOS. 30 on iOS is probably the Squirt Squad tier, so you'll get access to this thing here. So make sure you join the Discord or check community tab if you don't have Discord, and you'll find the Google Sheets you get access to. Which, of course, I do update lovingly, guys, all night long because I am updating and sweating things like you guys. Even when I'm not playing the late slate, I do update. So keep that in mind. 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. All right, Philadelphia, 112 implied points. That's Orlando, basically. It's Suggs. I don't like the other guys quite as much, but if Suggs fails, the other guys will probably be meaningful tournament pivots at much less ownership. Philadelphia here, ownership not caught up correctly because of the fact that Embiid and Paul George were still in the Stokastic data. Hopefully they will not be by the time we get up to the sim, but it's not looking good right now. That said, for Philadelphia here, whatever pieces you want, they all look pretty good to me. You can see literally Maxey, Drummond, Grimes, Barlow, Watford, Edwards, all above the 5x value. Jabari Walker, I gave 17.5 minutes to. Still really can't get there at a 3K minimum. But, you know, if these guys suck, if Barlow plays a few less minutes, you probably got a few more for Jabari Walker. Walker, though, not playing terribly well in the year, so not a super exciting play for me. But Philadelphia, the core guys here, all the offense is going to flow through Maxey. Drummond playing a ton of minutes and playing really well relative to, frankly, to Andre Drummond, even when he was good. Like, fantasy-wise, he put up like 70-point games and stuff before. But the fact he's playing good enough basketball to not get taken off the court and to still be out there in tough defensive situations, I would argue this is like the best real-life plus fantasy basketball that Andre Drummond's ever played. So shout out to him. You know, all these guys, though, in the hunt, Drummond, I think, will be the one that becomes mega chalk. But Edwards, the value play, if he's going to be getting a 32-minute projection from Stokastic like I gave him, I think he will also be mega chalk. Watford will be owned. Philadelphia is going to be much more owned now because of not having Paul George, Embiid, along with Edgecombe, Oubre. None of those guys in. And last game here, the battle for LA. Maybe Goga can ruin your night. Was Goga even in play the other night when he got ruled out, or was a late scratch? Because I did not. That was like a Sunday, so I did not play that slate, so it did not affect me. But yeah, it sucks when that happens. It's the NBA, though. I feel like with the NBA and NFL, injuries, guys getting late scratched, unfortunately, you know, you just lose the money and you don't get a credit back. That's the way that goes. Clippers, 111.5 implied points. Lakers, 118 implied. Zubac looks like the best ownership play here for me. That said, he will come down because of Drummond becoming much chalkier. Harden is a tournament option to Maxey and those guys. Luka as well, I suppose. Makes sense, even though he was 80% owned. I didn't realize that. Okay. Well, that's extra worse then. I just thought it was like people were playing him and trying to get cute off the bench. So that's shitty. That's sorry. Now that I know that, I'm sorry for making light of it because that is awful. Clippers, though, really in this spot, not loving it. Lakers, a decent defense, technically a pace up. But really the big thing to me is like Harden is a tournament play, sure. Kawhi is technically producing 1.3 fantasy points a minute, but his minutes at 26 is probably not enough to really trust at 8,400. Suppose you could play him. But Kawhi being in, I think mucks everything up enough. Zubac, no reason I think to not play Zubac besides the fact that Kawhi is going to take some usage away from that he would have otherwise if Kawhi weren't in. Lakers 118 implied points here. We've talked about the LeBron projection thing, but basically, if you give LeBron his historical projections or a little bit more of a reflection on that, he nerfs Luka and Austin Reeves pretty meaningfully. That said, I'm still getting Reeves 35% fields at 9, getting Luka under the field, getting LeBron under the field. I think there's a world where LeBron just doesn't have it anymore. 51% true shooting to start the year. 1.06 fantasy points a minute is really low for him. It'll get better, though, especially if he starts to shoot a little better. So for LeBron, really, to me, I don't think he's the play you want out of this group. And I think if anything, the historical respect that especially sites like Stokastic will give, but even I gave to LeBron here, like I talked about the Embiid thing last season, it just feels like, at least based off the small sample size of time that LeBron has played this year, feels like we're maybe giving him a little bit too much respect because his usage rate, 21% usage is a LeBron that is not shooting anywhere near like any other version of LeBron we've seen in his career. Drummond minus 1.6 EPM on offense. Okay, sure. I don't track those stats as much, but the fact to me that he's actually able to keep minutes has been the most impressive thing. And also too, like, he doesn't look like an albatross from the parts I've seen out there, but I'm sure he might still technically not be a good center by any advanced metrics. I'm sure Josh Engelman would mock me and laugh me out of the room for saying that that he's playing the best basketball of his career. But like, earning trust for Drummond is a hard thing. Either way, guys, we're going to run a sim on Stokastic now. So again, this has not been updated yet, unfortunately. So it will have Embiid and Paul George in. Will not reflect the Sixers stuff, but you'll get a read on what the Tim's top sim lineups are. So we'll do the best we can here as always. But if you want to see the updated stuff on Stokastic, make sure to click that link down below. Only you can prevent forest fires, as well as click the lineups and see which ones with Maxey and Luka come together. But do check it out for yourself. Really important for you guys out there. Even if you're using one of the free ways to sign up on Stokastic, I prefer you pay. If you can, but check it out really, because the big thing is like seeing sims, how they operate, especially for NFL. I think it's important. NBA, maybe a little bit less so. But seeing how like top lineups look, what they start to resemble every day, really important part of the process. And a lot of people out there, I notice, whether it's, sometimes here, but across the industry, other YouTube chats out there, people I could tell that just like have never used a sim, have no understanding of what like winning lineups look like. And I'm not saying this is like to shill you snake oil stuff, but like Stokastic has had 4 Millie Maker winners in the NFL this year. They've had a bunch of NBA tournament winners, including the CEO. It's really important to just like understand what good data, what good process looks like. And I try to do the best I can here, but for you guys out there, like playing with a sim is really the first hand. It's like flying a plane kind of thing. It's better to fly the plane yourself, right? That's what we always say about planes. Make that smoky reference. You flick a cigarette into a pile of leaves. Oh, that's sad. Don't do it in the West Coast. Then it gets even worse out there. We got Tyrese Maxey, your top ROI lineup right now. Now we've talked enough about forest fires. Quentin Grimes, Justin Champagnie, Chris Middleton. Holy shit. Alex Sarr, a lot of wizards in here. Jalen Suggs, Bilal Coulibaly, Joel Embiid made this one. Fuck. Well, Embiid's not going to make that. Number 2 is another Embiid lineup, so we'll skip over it. Number 3, we've got Grimes, Black, Champagnie, Cam Whitmore, Porzingis, Luka Doncic, Bilal Coulibaly, Ivica Zubac. So that one here, Quentin Grimes will only look better with Embiid and Paul George out. So I think the Sims still like him. Edwards making it in, and this is with Paul George still in the data set. Porzingis as well. The Sixers are going to come up endlessly, would be my guess when they get updated. Number 5, Quentin Grimes, Anthony Black, Justin Champagnie, Chris Middleton, Porzingis, Tyrese Maxey, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter. Yeah, gonna be a lot of Sixers and Wizards, especially if you got Keyshawn George out. It's gonna be like endless Sixers and Wizards. We got Justin Champagnie, a 3% ROI, technically your only positive ROI player on the slate. He's 3,200 in shooting guard, small forward. With Keyshawn George in, he looks playable as a like super cheap play that allows you to get the studs around him, and that's sometimes what you get in the Sims, where basically like a guy like Champagnie allows you to load up all the guys that have meaningful ceilings that can kind of spike in different configurations. That's why you're getting Champagnie in here. But he will look like a legit good play if you were to start, especially. But if you get Keyshawn George out at all those peripherals are going to flow to a guy like Champagnie along with the minutes. Quentin Grimes looks good with Paul George in the data set and Embiid. He'll look a lot better when they come out. 6,100. Think he is a good play. Joel Embiid, he's not playing, but he was a top ROI player if he did play. Chris Middleton, I don't agree with it. If you get Keyshawn George out, sure, at 4,400, but they had him being 40% owned Middleton. I just don't see how that's possible. With how Philadelphia's data has moved as well, even if you get Keyshawn George out, I think that you'll get Justin Edwards and Trenton Watford looking like a better play than Middleton. So I hope he goes away for you guys, because I don't believe in Middleton very much, both eye test wise and data wise to start the year. Tyrese Maxey was a top 5 ROI guy with Embiid, with Paul George in, so that's only going to get chalkier from here. Top exposed guys. My fiance just asked, is that Spags? Tell him he saved my lineups last night. Wow, that's thank you, Tiffany. Tiffany, you are becoming my favorite. We got guys like Steven in here, and guys like Robert III, who I love. And Tiffany, you are bringing a lot of joy to my heart with your super chats and with your relationship that supports me. This is, you guys, these are real relationship goals. It's them just gambling together. But thank you for that. We got Justin Champagny here. Wow, it's a lot of Champagny. Again, if Keyshawn George is out, Champagny's going to be endless on the slate. But 26% owned for the field. I'm getting him at 67% here, the top 150. Chris Middleton coming up a bunch. Stokastic, loving your shitty Wizards. 2 shitty Wizards up top with Champagny and Middleton. Again, I feel like these guys, I don't see how they're playable if Keyshawn George is playing. But, or like, especially Middleton. But, if he's out, I could see this ownership being a thing a lot of people have. Porzingis, 48% for the field. Stokastic giving you 53. Porzingis, the big concern is really the minutes not getting super high. Did he play more last game? Because he played pretty well last game. Real fast. Porzingis did not play in this one. Oh, this is when he was out for rest. Did he play in this one? Played 33 minutes. Okay. I did not catch that. I just saw he played well. But yeah, so Porzingis' minutes cap might be off. Given the ownership for, it's still Porzingis will have a good amount of ownership too, but given the ownership for Jalen Johnson, I think getting more Porzingis just as a leverage against that, or a lever against that, it'd be a logical thing to do. Alex Sarr, 51% fields at 28. Drummond is going to upset this ownership really for both these guys. Drummond's going to come in and be about 50% for the field. And if I had to guess, at least that in the sim. Porzingis and Sarr, definitely live tournament pivots for Drummond. And guys you can play alongside of him, obviously. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 49% fields at 52. I think that should hold even with the Philadelphia value opening up. Okay. All right. I'm not even going to read that. You're going to send me down some rabbit holes. But yes, the fiance should subscribe into the channel. I agree with that. I'm happy to get one household though. Like if one member of every U.S. household signed up for the Splash Play channels, I think I'd be pretty cool. So it's okay. But I appreciate the sentiment. Highest leverage guys, Champagny, 41% more in the field. Again, the stuff's going to move around, but Champagny is a value at 3,200. He will still make some lineups, I think. And again, we'll make a lot more if Keyshawn George doesn't play. Quentin Grimes, 26% leverage on the field. Chris Middleton, 22%. Alex Sarr, 21% in the field. Tyrese Maxey, 14%. So the Grimes and Maxey numbers, you'll get more field ownership, but they might become even more popular for the Stokastic Sims here. But the Philadelphia guys, it sucks. Like, I really wish this had updated, but the Philadelphia guys are going to define the slate. So kind of prepare accordingly for that, because it's not fully coming through in the data right now, but like you're even seeing a lot of Sixers before Embiid and George got taken out of the data. Jalen Johnson, negative 32% leverage here. Big fade against him. Wonder if more value on the slate opens that up more. That's noteworthy. Jalen Suggs, negative 15% leverage. I still like Suggs. Even with better value opening up, I still would like Suggs. Kobe Sanders, fading him almost entirely. That's fine. Really doesn't feel like the time to play Kobe Sanders when he's priced up and you're getting Kawhi back in. Justin Edwards, he was a fade. I don't think he'll be a fade when they update because there are now just more wing minutes to go around. It's going to make Edwards basically on the court the entire game. And LeBron, they are fading here in Stokastic data, negative 8.5% leverage. That won't be impacted by anything that is going to change in the data. So LeBron really playing poorly to start the year. You can make the case that just means he's due to play a lot better, but the old guy deferring to the two young bulls on the offense, I think is what I'm reading his rates to look like to start the year. If Batate's out, can we play Orlando Robinson flat 3K? I probably still wouldn't know, but you could. I mean, he's no worse of a value than Champagny. If like Champagny here at 3,200, about 16.6 fantasy points. Let's see. Orlando Robinson filling in for a guy who's scoring 1.1 fantasy point per minute and playing about 15 and a half. I think Robinson would be playable. If Batate were out, he'd be playable as a pivot to a very highly owned Champagny, but I wouldn't do it a lot personally. I just think he's going to project that well. Robinson's never been like a smash center either. He's not like that, the Jalen Smith tier of guys that usually put up like 1.2, 1.3. He's like a 0.95 guy historically, might even be lower than that. So yeah, he's not even as good as Batate. So I probably wouldn't go crazy there, but you could. That's a slate though, guys. So not going to do a single lineup sim because this shit's all going to move pretty meaningfully, and it's probably not worth your time or mine. But I will be back tomorrow for our last slate before the Thanksgiving mini break here one day. But stay tuned for that. Either way, before we go, I will give you guys my splash play. Splash plays for the day rather. But before I do that, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. Just one guy showing you my gambling as best I can. As you can hopefully tell when you watch these shows, I prepare as diligently as I possibly can. My own data, the work, checking all the various game flows and box scores as much as I can. And that's really what the process looks like for me as a gambler. But I do the best I can to loop you guys into it every day, add some value. Even if all you're going to do is fade everything I say, please hit that like button. Please subscribe before you go, because it goes a long way for me here, just trying to fight that YouTube algorithm, do the good work here, and really see how high we can push this channel. The growth for 1 month of the NBA season has been really encouraging. The kind words, the super chats from you guys as well, same thing. So I'm strapped in here, guys. So let's strap in and strap on together, as I always say. If you want professional data, use Stokastic stuff, 15% off, promo code SPLASH. Link down in the description as well. You can see their full Cheesecake Factory menu of options for all the things you get there. Basically, all the cheap packages, all the expensive packages, your all access avatar stuff. Some of you guys sign up for that, and that's fucking awesome. Please keep doing that. But also weekly stuff, whatever they have, it's all 15% off using the promo code SPLASH. So check that out. And if you want my data, join the channel here. The Squirt Squad tiers will show you the data that I show you on screen, including exportable projections on the VIP tier. But if you just want to support the show, get the avatar here, get some gifts in the chat as well. It's $5 to join, so do that too. All right, splash plays for the day. And for me, this is reflecting the Philadelphia stuff because I did update the minutes. It's Edwards, it's Drummond, it's to a lesser extent Watford, but still Watford. I mean, it's Maxey. It's all the Sixers. It really is all the Sixers, which makes me think they're going to get fucking blown out today. But like, really, it's now a situation where they're not priced for being down Edgecombe, being down Oubre, being down George, being down Embiid. The assumption was 2 of those guys were going to be in, maybe even 3. Now you're getting none of them. So Sixers just not priced correctly, and still a decent team total as well. Orlando matchup, not as tough as it used to be. I just think you want to load up on Sixers today. Besides those guys, I mean, Jalen Johnson's mega chalk. It's not really a splash play. Getting above the field on Suggs still, or at least with the field if he maintains like 50% ownership. Alexander Walker, same thing. Austin Reeves, I'm up on. I think Sarr, I'll still be up on. That's enough splash plays. But yeah, anything Philly, it just looks a lot better. That's general rules of DFS. But those other guys too. There's a lot. For a 3-game slate, there's a lot of options, guys. So I appreciate all you guys being here. Again, if I don't see you before then, have a happy Thanksgiving. But I will be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. We got a big slate. It's actually NBA Cup games tomorrow as well. So we'll talk about that at great length here. It's my only stream for the day as well. In fact, I'm only doing splash play streams the next couple days. So check me out on the NFL channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. Be doing my Thanksgiving preview on there. Similar process for the NFL, except I don't make my own data. But I'll be doing that at 12 p.m. 2 p.m. I'll be back here tomorrow. And of course, updates the data coming to the members. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, especially this time of year where you got stuff to pay for these holidays. But with the NFL, NBA crossover, it's a lot of slates. So use your bankroll intelligently and be smart about it as best you can. And I will see you guys again soon. So, hey, enjoy your days. Good luck. And I'm doing really well with NBA League. So I'd like to keep the heater going. Hopefully it's going well for you guys. Let's keep it going. And if not, let's get back on track today. Either way, right? All right. Bye, guys. Catch you soon.